Samantha Irvin leaving WWE unannounced, unplanned. Nobody saw it coming. No go home show for her. No farewell. Bound for Glory this weekend. Main event. Nick Demas. Say his name and he'll appear. Joe Hendricks. Monday night. Braun Breaker winning back the Intercontinental title from main event Jey Uso. Halloween Havoc. The tradition of Halloween returns back on NXT with Trick Williams versus Ethan Page for the NXT title. Shawn heading back to the booth to do some commentary on a wrestling show. What is going on this week in the world of wrestling? Don't worry, my friends. I got you. Get you ready for this night. Get you ready for all the events that took place this week. You're watching W.O.D. right here with Shawn on Boom Broadcasting. Welcome back to W.O.D. right here on the Boom Broadcasting. Yours truly, Shawn, getting you through a jam-packed action week of pro wrestling, sports entertainment right here on W.O.D. on the Boom Broadcasting. We want to thank you for tuning in on this Saturday event with so much to cover. First thing, Samantha Irvin leaving WWE and just taking a hiatus, taking a break. We didn't see it coming. Nobody saw it coming. If they told you they saw it coming, they're lying to you, because we really thought when Ricochet left, I thought Samantha Irvin would leave then. But with her sticking around a couple of months after Ricochet debuted, I said maybe they're going to try to balance this thing out with Ricochet and AEW, Samantha traveling with the Raw team, and, having those Tuesday, Wednesdays off, maybe not working so many house show events. Last time I went to a house show over in the Carolinas, Byron Saxton was our ring announcer. So, I said maybe some things have worked out where she can balance it. But you see, when you have a couple, especially with both of them being engaged, that when you have a couple that's working in two different promotions, the travel time gets hectic, very hectic. And I remember listening to Trinity Fatu, well known as Naomi on TV, and listening to Jimmy Uso, Jonathan Fatu, known as Jimmy Uso on TV, listen to both of them talk about how when Trinity went to not NWA, I can't even call it T.N.A, when she went to T.N.A, how difficult it was on them and the strain, because Jimmy was just coming back, got inserted in a hot bloodline story with his brother Jey and his cousin Roman, and the wise man Paul Heyman got inserted with that where he was trying to pull Jey back over. So the storyline. He got inserted in that. Trinity was tearing it up in T.N.A. She was the women's champ. And they both talked about why they were so glad that when Trinity's contract was over, she decided to come back to WWE. And, Trinity and Sasha, Mercedes Moné, both left. They had a reason leaving. They felt like that the women tag titles were not being honored and validated on the show as they should be on the show. They felt like both of them were worth more than what WWE was paying them, that their wealth was worth more. Hey, no knock on them. What I always say, if you think you're more than what you're worth, go get what your money says you're worth. Go let people know, hey, who am I to count your coins and tell you how much you're worth on a promotion? If you feel like that, great. But, go back to some of my old shows, not on Boom Broadcast. We'll maybe find some way to finagle back to where you hear me talk about that. But both of them talked about how hard it was being in two different promotions. Jonathan said having to go to T.N.A, being backstage with my wife Trinity, hoping that nobody kind of caught me. If I got a picture, hey, it is what it is. I'll support my wife, but not really trying to be caught on camera watching his wife perform when she won the T.N.A title. And you got to remember, back then, the partnership with T.N.A and WWE wasn't where it's at now. Vinnie Mac was still under control, and there was no even thought of an earthly idea of a partnership with both of them. So a lot of things changed. Now, if Ricochet would have went to T.N.A, I believe Samantha Irvin would have stayed a little longer, because it would have been okay to be seen on TV. A lot of people remember Trinity's last match. Bailey and Mercedes Moné was there. We saw Mercedes Moné, but we did not see Tamina Snuka or Bailey. But we found out with a photo out they took all four of them together after the show where they said showing support to our girl, but Trinity, but we did not know they were there till that picture. So it was a little more difficult for both of them in the scheduling conflict. Ricochet's turned up in AEW, so you pretty much can assume that he's going to be there for a little longer. But you see this a lot. Andrade left WWE, took a break, married Charlotte, ended up going to AEW, did great in AEW, but the scheduling conflict between him and Charlotte was too much that he pretty much found his way back to WWE to be with his wife. So I can see why Trinity decided to go and take a break. Now, will we see on AEW television? Probably not right now. If AEW signed her to be a ring announcer, I think it would be a steal for AEW. I think that is one thing that they're good at ring announcing, but you maybe could give her the collision shows. You know, Ricochet's kind of performing on Dynamite, give her the collision shows to ring announce. Because I told everybody, Samantha Irvin is arguably one of the best ring announcers. I mean, I could put her up there with Howard Finkel's and everybody that I heard ring announce. She just does a good job. And one thing WWE did was they used her strengths. Being that she came from a background of being a singer, a vocalist, she was able to use her background to do different things. I mean, they let her make everybody, she made everybody's name cool. Chelsea Green, before Chelsea Green was over. What got Chelsea Green over was Samantha Irvin said, Chelsea Green. That got her over with the fans. It was so much she did as a ring announcer that got people to buy into the wrestler. And one thing you learn as being a commentator or ring announcer, your job is to put the talent over. And you can't tell me when she was ring announcing, she didn't put the talent over. She put over Chelsea Green. She put over The Miz. Still, to me, one of the best calls. I'm telling you, I come from the Fink era. The Fink was the standard of ring announcing. The night when Cody finished the story, and you could hear about the break into tears. That was realness. You cannot fake or act that. That was realness that we saw before us as she announced Cody as the new champ of defeating the undisputed reigning defeated champ Roman Reigns. I really think she has a great, great future. Not only if she goes to AEW ring announce, but doing boxing, MMA, mixed martial arts, MMA, kickboxing, main event matches, you know, she could really now market herself. And I think on the WWE, she knew that you were confined to only being just a WWE ring announcer. Now her being a brand name, being on one of the biggest platforms of professional wrestling, WWE, as a main ring announcer on the Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the premium live events, she now can market herself to boxing matches, the MMA world, UFC, everybody to be a ring announcer. So I don't think this will be the last you see Samantha Irvin. I do believe she will show up at AEW. I would hope AEW does not put her as a manager with Ricochet, will bring her in as a ring announcer. I don't know how she would do in a backstage role. Maybe she would do good at that. I don't know. We didn't really get a chance to see that. But I know if they put her as a ring announcer, bringing in and out, bringing in the talent, announcing the winners of the match, she would definitely knock that out. And hey, if Dana White scooped up in UFC to ring announce some of the big matches, Conor McGregor matches, some of the big matches, you know, hey, Canelo Alvarez, when he has to box, if they put up the ring announce some of that, she would be great at it. So the sky is the limit. I think sometimes you have to leave to really see your wealth. Mercedes Moné did that. She's doing great in AEW and New Japan, tearing it up. Trinity Fatu did it. Now back as Naomi, tore it up on the Indies, tore it up in T.N.A. Now back in WWE. And I hate to say it, she's doing good. But you got to start questioning yourself. Should I have stayed on the Indies where I was doing a little better? WWE has done good with pushing her, but not the push that she got when she was in T.N.A. So hats off, Samantha. Hate to see you go. Very good ring announcer, but you know when you ran your course. And let's see what happens. Let's see where you end up at. Now, our next thing on W.O.D. There's a new champ that's been crowned. No other than Mr. Braun Breaker. He beat main event Jey Uso. I totally understand why it was done. Do I like the way it was done? No, because I felt like we just pretty much crapped on Jey Uso's first ever singles title run, because now it's going to be looked at that he won this title only to continue to feud and set up more momentum for him to side with his brother Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns and be the third member of the original Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0 in the Civil War Games match. This right here, yes, great storytelling, impeccable storytelling. If you really want to see how to tell a story, WWE is telling a story with this Bloodline. But you really just killed Jey Uso. You killed main event. I said that main event Jey Uso had to come into this War Games match as the Intercontinental Champ. That's what I wanted. But I started back thinking, if he comes in as the Intercontinental Champ, as a mid-card champ, and our tribal chief, the OTC Roman Reigns, does not have a championship, does that devalue Roman Reigns in the fans' eye? Will Jey get the bigger pop than OTC as the Intercontinental Champ? But you look at those things and we'll never know. But you understand why WWE had to do it, because they had to build onto the story for Jey. But you just hurt his singles run. I would have rather saw Jey not win the title, go through the Civil War, be close to winning the title, and had the Bloodline interrupt, cause distraction, cause disqualification, where Braun could have retained it. You could have kept the title on Braun the first time and had Jey to use that to build towards siding with Roman and Jimmy, versus now going back looking at his first title run and saying, what, a month? If it was 30 days and he lost it to Braun, yes, it was interference from the Bloodline, but he lost it. And now you're going to kind of shuffle Jey as, is he truly a breakout person that we thought he was? I think WWE got it wrong on this one. You really just crapped on this guy's first title run. And I'm telling you, first title runs supposed to be monumental. It's supposed to be the changing of a guard. And Jey was the perfect person, a tag specialist that broke away. Will always be known as the Marty Jannetty of the Usos. No personality. He broke the fourth and fifth wall with personality. We saw that he got it with the Yeet. People got behind him. He really became main event Jey Uso. Yes, he became that to the people. We looked at Jey as a main event star. We still look at him as a main event star. You give him the IC title, you expect for him to have a great title run. At least 6 months at the most to 7 months at the most before he loses it. And within not even 30 days, it's over. It's gone. It's done. Yes, I'll go back to my initial point. WWE, great storyline telling by now giving that fuel power for him to come back and want to take retribution against the Bloodline, against Solo, the Tongans, and Jacob Fatu. But you hurt his first title run that he can never get back. So when you go back and let's say Jey wins the IC title December, January, wins it at Mania, you're going to go back and look at his first title run and say, man, he had it for 30, 15 days, 20 days. He lost it. What was up? What was up? And Faith was a Hurricane Hills. What's up with that? That's what you're going to say. Bad move on WWE. Smart move for long-term storytelling. Bad move on killing the vibe for this guy's first title reign. And Jey, true professional, he did business. He could have went back there. He could have complained and said, hey, look, I don't want to drop the title, you know. Let me come in Civil War Games as the IC champ. But he did what was best for business, so good knock on Jey. But I really think we just dampered that first title run for somebody who waited so long and patiently to finally win his first singles title to drop within under 30 some days. So we'll see what happens as this bloodline storyline continues on, and to see if Jey does side with Roman and Jimmy. It's setting up he will side that way. Right now, we know the 4 for Bloodline 2.0, which is the original 4. If The Rock joins them, it will be 5. If the Tongan's other brother joins them, it will be 5. I keep saying if you do 5, whether it's The Rock or the Tongan's baby brother, if you do 5, the 5th member for Roman has to be the honorary Uso. It's got to be Sammy. It's got to be Sammy. It cannot be nobody else. It's got to be Sammy. It's got to be Cody. It can be nobody else. If you're going to do Cody and do 4-on-4, you just killed this storyline. Because if you're going to go 4 instead of 5, it's got to be Sammy. It's got to be the honorary Uso. It's got to be the guy that when his music hits, we're going to get behind him. And it's going to be like a reuniting of the bloodline of seeing Roman give him that shirt that says honorary Uso and just seeing Sammy say, I acknowledge you as my tribal chief, and they go to war. I think that's where they need to go with it. Cody's got to be intertwined with it, so we're going to see a 5th member. I don't think you want to bring The Rock in for Civil War games. Not saying that he needs to, but if they're going, if 2.0 bloodline, Solo's bloodline is going to lose, then The Rock don't need to be in that ring nowhere at all. He needs to stay clean. He pinned Cody. Cody pinned Roman the next night at Mania. He's due a match with Cody, so he needs to just stay clean, no losses on his column, and build towards that Cody match with him and Cody for the title. Now, our next thing we got right here on W.O.D. 2 shows coming up. Halloween Havoc, T.N.A. Bound for Glory. Let's make some picks, and then we're going to talk about some other stuff before we get out of here.
This is Shawn from W.O.D. and I'm with Chris Bassett, the Masterpiece. And you are watching W.O.D. on the Boom broadcast. Let's go.
Halloween Havoc, not that many matches, only 5. What did I say about WWE? They get it right. Small card, longer matches, and it feels good. TNA, only 9 on theirs. A decent card. AEW, they feel like they got to do 11, 12 and just give you a bunch. If AEW could trim it down to 9, I would feel better. So let's do the Halloween Havoc card first. The champion, Trick Williams, won the title back the first night. The NXT came to the CW and was live. He beat Ethan Page. This is a spin the wheel, make the deal, spin the wheel, make the deal, spin the wheel, make the deal. That's an old school WCW slang right there. A lot of people don't remember. Spin the wheel, make the deal, Halloween Havoc comes from WCW. One of the first spin the wheel, make the deal matches was Mick Foley, Cactus Jack versus Vader. Well, that was the first ever spin the wheel, make the deal match right there on WCW when he was Cactus Jack. Before it was Mick Foley, before it was Mankind, before it was Dude Love, he was Cactus Jack. A second spin the wheel, make the deal match, one of my favorite, the Cold Mounted Glove match between Sting and Jake the Snake Roberts. That's a good classic match. If you get a chance, jump on YouTube, jump on some old WCW, find that match between Jake the Snake Roberts versus Sting in the Cold Mounted Glove match. And WCW used to have like the most worst gimmick matches for spin the wheel. The Cold Mounted Glove match was if you get the Cold Mounted Glove and you punch your opponent, it knocks them out. Man, we come a long way. Can we all say that? We come a long way. But you got Trick Williams versus Ethan Page. Spin the wheel, make the deal match. We don't know what it will be, so they're going to spin the wheel. But I want to say Ethan Page wins the title back. He wins the title back at this pay-per-view of Halloween Havoc. I think giving it to Trick on the first night on CW, you wanted to do something big. New channel, new viewers, new people tuning in. You made it big. Chicago, Punk, all of the above. Chicago, wrestling town. Why not do a title change live on TV, free on air? And we gave it a Trick. Ethan Page wins the title back. Tony D'Angelo versus Obafemi in a spin the wheel, make the deal, spin the wheel, make the deal. I'm going to be doing it all day now. In a spin the wheel, make the deal match, and it can be tables, ladders, and scares match. The spin the wheel make the deal match for Trick Williams and Ethan Page was the Devil's Playground match. Tables, ladders, and scares match. Why can't we just say tables, ladders, and chairs? WWE, do we have to say scares? But hey, WWE sticking with the Halloween tradition of using the Halloween word in a match. Tony D'Angelo has done a lot to win this title for Obafemi. That was a very good win. And it was something that we wanted. If you go back and watch the Nightcap and listen to Mouth Off with Mike, listen to Prez, Mike D, Podcast Smitty, all the content people who talk wrestling, Wayne the Model, all of us who talk wrestling on Boom Broadcasting, we have been waiting patiently for Tony D'Angelo to win the match. Black Concert Constellation, Black Master Constellation, even that, Totalina and Torrent, they both said it. We all have been waiting for Tony D'Angelo to win the title. He has it. To me, Tony D'Angelo is the heart and soul of NXT because during those Heritage Cup matches, we really got to see that Tony D'Angelo can go. The guy can flat out wrestle. He can go the distance. And I think those Heritage Cup matches made him better than what we were getting in a singles match. I think Tony D'Angelo retains the title. It is just way too early to take this NXT Mid-Atlantic title, North American Championship, off of him. Keep the title on him. Now we get a tag match. You get Roxanne Perez and Cora Jane versus Gilia and Stephanie Valkyria. Roxanne Perez not losing on a premium live event. When are we going to learn that? Listen to your guy. That's what I'm here for on WOD, to drop this knowledge on you. In the famous words of Booker T, drop them bars on you. Listen to your guy. Pop Rock's not losing on a premium live event. Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade win this match. Andre Chase versus Ridge Holland in an ambulance match. This right here could be the steel match of the night. And it's always a match where it's two guys that you don't think can steal a show. I think this can steal a show. I'm taking Andre. No, I'm changing live on the air. I'm sticking with Andre Chase. Chase you. I was going to go Ridge Holland, but Chase you gets the win. Andre Chase puts Ridge Holland in the ambulance to win this match. And our next match, spin the wheel, make the deal. Spin the wheel, make the deal. We're doing it all day, I told you. Will be the spinner's choice to be determined match for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Kalani Jordan, who is the champ, versus Fallon Henley, versus Jace Janey, and versus Jasmine Nix. I'm going with Jasmine Nix to win this match. Jasmine Nix to win the NXT Women's North American Championship in the spin the wheel. And this is the old school spin the wheel. This is the one where they're going to spin the wheel, and whatever the match is, we got to roll with it. If it's TLC, let's go. If it's a lights out match, let's go. If it's the God forbid ugly gold model glove match, let's go. If it's last woman standing, let's go. If it's first blood, let's go. Submission, let's go. That's what this is. It's going to be old school WCW spin the wheel style match. So I'm looking forward to that right there to see what the wheel lands on, to see if the ladies can adapt and be ready for that match. Because you got to call that on the fly. Because wherever the wheel says, you got to go. Now, I take it that WWE has found a robust way to program the wheel to land on the match they want to land on. As a kid, I always said, it's got to be a way they got a magnet on the back of this wheel, then it lands on the match you're supposed to land on. But we will never know. We'll never know. Hey, we don't peel the curtain back. We're just out here fantasy booking. Now, hopping over to T.N.A. 2024 Bound for Glory. Great stat premium live event that T.N.A. is hosting. One I'll definitely be watching. Our first match will be Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin. Josh Alexander taking him for this win right here. Nothing more to say. The guy just can go. A guy that needs to cross over into NXT. Needs to cross over to NXT. We need to see him pop up on NXT. Mike Bailey versus Hijo Dave Aquino for the TNA's Division Champion. I'm really a big fan of Mike Bailey. This guy has won me over. He can go in the ring. He's a good sound wrestler, submission specialist, technical specialist. I'm taking Mike Bailey for the win. Spitfire, Jody Threat, and Dana Luna versus Rosemary and Wendy Chu for the TNA Knockout World Tag Team Champs. Well, what did I say? I said if anybody in NXT wins a TNA title, it needs to be a female. That's what it needs to be. Give me Rosemary and Wendy Choo for the win. Now you can have the TNA titles on both channels. And now you can set up for a match with them versus the WWE Women's Tag Champs, Bianca Belair and Jay Jordan, and Jay Cargill, not Jay Jordan, Jay Cargill. And guess what? Have the match end in a no disqualification match. That's what you can do. Our next match, the System, Brian Myers versus Eddie Edwards versus Alicia Edwards versus the Hardys versus ABC in a three-way Full Metal Mayhem match for the TNA World Championship match. The champions are the System, Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, and I am going to take the Broken Hardys to win this match. These are the type of matches that the Hardys succeed in. They win in. Hardys are getting ready to have that last ride in TNA. I feel it. They need to get back to WWE to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. They should be inducted in the TNA Hall of Fame. This should be the last ride for the Hardys in TNA. And who's saying the Hardys may hang around TNA for a long time and retire in TNA? We don't know. Our next match, Mike Santana versus Moose. I'm taking Moose for this win. Our next match, PCO versus Matt Cardona in a Monster Ball match for the TNA Digital Media Championship and International Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. Matt Cardona wins this match. Matt Cardona wins this match. I think PCO did good winning at the last Premium Live event, but Matt Cardona wins this match right here. And then our last match will be, well, we got two. You have a 20-person intergender Call Your Shot gauntlet match. The winner receives a trophy and a contract they can invoke anytime within 1 year for a championship match of their choosing. Frankie Kazarian versus AJ Francis versus Sammy Calhoun versus Lardo Kid versus Jake Southern versus Jason Hodge and 14 more other people. We don't know who they are. 14 people from TNA, 7 people from NXT, 7 from TNA. Throw them in the ring, and who's going to win? AJ Francis. This is his match to win right here. Give me AJ Francis. My good friend Top Dollar is going to drop dollars on you and win this match. Down to our main event on TNA Bound for Glory. The champ, Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendry. I've been saying that TNA should have their champion appear on NXT. And they have done it with the ladies. Jordan has been over to NXT. Roxanne has been over to TNA. But the men champs, Trick Williams, Ethan Page, when he was the champ, have not been on TNA. And the TNA champ, Moose, when he was a champ, now Nick Nemeth, has not been on NXT. Do you want to know why? Why? Because they just were waiting on the right person. Nick Nemeth has been a great champ for TNA. He's really gotten more eyes on TNA. And with TNA, you like people like these WWE guys who come over there, they come to your brand and bring those WWE eyes to the brand. But on this match right here, say his name and he will appear. Joe Hendry wins the title. Joe Hendry appears on NXT as the TNA champ. It is coming. You heard it first right here on W.O.D. Those are my picks right there for Halloween Havoc and for TNA Bound for Glory. But before I get out of here, can't leave without talking about it. I'm heading back to the booth to do some play-by-play for a promotion around here in North Carolina. Hoping everything works out, that me and my color guy can get on the same page. We're going to go through some test runs over the next couple weeks before we have a live show. More details on when the live show is, how you guys will be able to tune in on YouTube. Haven't been in the booth since COVID, so I'm very excited. Been doing the podcast, W.O.D., been doing It Stinks on Boom Broadcasting, been doing Grit and Grind for 4 seasons all over North Carolina, been doing everything under the sun, been on Out of Pocket, been on the Nightcap, been on so many other shows, been on, what's my show, Wrestling with Style. Hey, but shout out to my boy Wood, Hollywood and Arthur. Shout out to those guys, was on their show. But heading back to the booth, I'm looking forward to it. Have not been in the booth since pre-COVID. Back then, I was in the booth doing football for high school football, doing college football, doing play-by-play. So looking forward to returning back. I mean, it's been a, 4 or 5 year hiatus. I had pretty much got satisfied doing the Grit and Grind shows, doing It Stinks, doing W.O.D. Hey, I like sitting in the office with my microphone in front of me, not having to call it. But when I got the call, I just could not resist to be able to have a chance to get back in a gymnasium, get a headset on, and just call a match and just call it to the best of my ability to make people laugh and to bring some laughter and to be able to tell a story of what the wrestler's telling in the ring. Cannot wait to do it. Looking forward to it. Counting down. Me and the color guy, we've been texting, we've been talking. I've been telling him, hey, if you want to drive the ship, do play-by-play on one of the matches, you can. I'll jump the color. If you want me to drive the ship and you give me that color, however you want to do it, we can make it work. But definitely looking forward to it. We'll be dropping links when that happens, so it's coming. We are just waiting on the right event to come out and go live with it right now. Been doing some simultaneous recording, but we're waiting on some things to go live. So when we go live, we will definitely be giving you guys a shout out of how to tune in to see some good indie wrestling over here in the Carolinas. And what I always say about the Carolinas before we sign off, Carolinas, not only is it Flyers country, it's wrestling country, USA, right here in the Carolinas. This is Shawn. This is W.O.D. I'm out of here. See you next week on W.O.D. And as always, we haven't said in a couple of weeks, but we're going to remind you, please, please, please go out and support indie wrestling in your area. This is Shawn, W.O.D., and we're out of here.